So Heather says she has these papers. These are really old papers, aren't they, Heather? Morning, Michelle. So these are really old papers. Nice for Michelle to join us. Michelle's just started scrapbooking, and I did share one of her, I think it's her very first ever scrapbooking layout over on my page, which was lovely for everybody to see. Oh, Heather says she had a bit of lightning yesterday. Oh, well, I think we must have got away quite light here then in Edwinstowe. Right, I'm just moving all my bits out of the way. So I've gathered all my supplies. So I've got my little heart stamp there, all on the chalk already. I've got my inks already. What did Jean say then? I missed that one. Oh no, I can't bring up the comments. Where's the comments gone? Oh, Jean says she's finally been able to get me on the laptop. Brilliant, Jean. So you've got a bigger screen now. That's fantastic. So, well, my camera looks a bit jaunty angle, but actually I think we're just going to leave it alone because we're round the right way and it's all looking good at the moment. It's close enough for you all to see the measurements and everything as well, isn't it? So I've got my inks. Now I've chosen my ink pads, as I said, to match my papers. Hi, Jill. And as Heather said, she's got these papers. These are really old papers. They came in a pad. Hi, Lynn. Morning. And, oh, no, it's not. It's night there. Jean said she had a storm last night as well. You're only literally a few miles up the road to me. I must have missed something. These papers are years old. They came in a big pad. So Kerry says she's got rain now. And Michelle saying good morning to everybody. Barbara saying morning to everybody. She's going to do the page later. Because she thinks it's going to rain later. I must admit, it's not looking very nice out there. My son's gone off to golf, but I think, yes, he's going to get a bit wet. So these are really old papers. I had them in a paper pad when I first started scrapbooking. I thought these were the bee's knees. You had all the different styles, didn't you, of patterns, Heather? But they're all single-sided and they are quite flimsy. But I keep them because I use them for when I'm doing prototypes for mini books and things like that. Morning, Brenda. So, but I thought these are going to work perfectly for what I want to do today. So, shall we get started, everybody? So, I've got my photograph, which I'm thinking is a... Oh, no, it's not quite 6x4. It's just under 5.5, so I need to trim that down. And I'm going to use a die for my title this time. It says always and forever, so I'm just going to use one word die this time. So the first thing I need to do is trim my border off, because I've got a border on my base card. And we're not going to do any gutting today. I thought we'll have a nice, simple, easy layout today. We'll have a nice, gentle morning. Because we can. So I'm going to take my strip away. So that's everything there. Right. Right, so I've got my base page. Now my photograph is just a plain printed out photograph. And I want to put a white border on it. And I actually think for this layout, I might do a double white border. So, oh, Barbara says she's got these papers as well in a different style. I think they must have been the rage. So, I'm going to do a double mount, but I'm going to do a double mount in whites, just for a change. I'm just going to shake things up a little bit this time. So I'm going to try it out. It's not something I normally do. Now my photograph, let me move everything up that way. Oh, I still need to move everything up that way, excuse me. Because I want you to see, that's why I honed in on my thing. Is that better? Can you all see that? I'm keep moving my my cutter up. Right, my photograph isn't quite 6 inches long. So what you need to do is a rule of thumb. For your first mat, you go 1/4 of an inch bigger, or 2 of these little dashes on my inch marks are 1/8 of an inch. So mine's coming about there, so I need to go to this one. So I need to go to 5 6/8 for my first mat. Okay, it's going to look like that. And then I'm going to do another mat. So this time I went 4 1/4. So this time I need to go 4 1/2. This layout's quite nice actually, because you're literally only going to use scraps of paper. So it's quite a nice one to do. And it's a great way of using like ends of kits up. If any of you, you know, got ends of kits or bits of scraps, or you think you can't join in this morning because you haven't got enough pattern paper, this is perfect. Now actually, I'm quite liking that double matted in the white, just for a change. Just for a change. So I'm going to keep those scraps of white because I'll need those for my title. So I can get these stuck down. So that's first thing, we get those stuck down. So I'm just going in with the normal Collall because I've got a digital reprint. Okay. So I'm just going to mat that onto there. Now I could have inked the edge of my my photograph with white, but I've chosen not to. But I'm quite liking the fact that the double mat on the white, something I wouldn't normally do. So a first for me as well. So hopefully it's a first for you as well. So a mat and layer that onto there. Okay, so that will really make that pop out against the coloured papers I'm using. Now I am using quite garish coloured papers here today, but that doesn't matter, does it? You know, sometimes it's quite nice to use something a bit out your comfort zone, as I say. So that's my photograph all done. So have we all got our photograph done? Give me a quick thumbs up if you have, so I'm not going to race ahead with you all. So quick thumbs up. I'm having a quick sip of coffee. My hubby's bought me a coffee. So that should be your photograph all matted and layered, ready to go. Yeah, Heather's there. I'm getting some hearts and thumbs. Good. Right, we're all ready for the next stage. That's brilliant, because I want to do it along with you. So the photograph I'm using is my brother and sister-in-law's wedding. And I'm going to have to try and remember the year now. I only scrapbooked it the other day as well. And I bet I can't find it. Never mind. So out of our 3 colours, I want you to cut 3 strips that are 3 inches by 9 inches. They're all going to be exactly the same. Okay, so 3 inches across, 9 inches long, and you're going to do that for all 3 of them. All right, keep any scraps you've got left because we'll be using those as well. So I'm just going to slide this in. Now I'm going to let you into a secret. I've not even made this layout before. It's partly from an idea I saw on Pinterest and partly a bit of additions. So I'm literally scrapbooking along with you in real time, doing a layout that I've not even done before. So isn't this going to be a fun morning? So you see, I'm with you all the way on this one. So I've got my 3 strips, 3 by 9. Okay, I'm going to pop my trimmer to one side for a moment. Okay. And then I'm going to lay these out. This is the idea I'm sort of going for. Needs to overlap there a little bit. Okay. So it might look quite simple, but we've got lots of detail to add yet. Okay. So the next thing... Oh, morning, Helen. You made it back. well done. So don't worry about if you haven't got your supplies gathered. You can catch up later. But what I've done, Helen, is I've got my photograph and I've double matted in white this time for a change. So I've gone 1/4 of an inch wider on the width and the length and done that again. So I've double matted in white just for a bit of difference. So that's as far as we've got with that, Helen. And then the other thing I've done is cut 3 strips that all measure 3 inches across by 9 inches. Okay, so I don't think you've missed anything. And then the next thing I want to do is to ink the edges. So I did say to you, get your ink pads, coordinating ink pads, if you could. So I've got my ink pads here. So I'm just going to pop them up the top here. And I've got my blending tools as well. So I'm just going to ink the edges. I'm not going for heavy distressed inky look. Shall I slide down a little bit so you can see my ink pads? I'm just going to do just the edges, because this looks quite a plain and simple layout, but we're going to add a little bit more interest to it, because you know what I'm like, we've got to have a little bit of something extra. And I think it was Katie in another class or live I was doing that we were talking about hat pins. So I thought we might even bring some hat pins into this as an embellishment, because I didn't sort of add any embellishments really, did I? So, but I was having a little dig around before I went live and I found my hat pins and I thought, oh, I might even stick a few of those in, but I'm going to see what it's like as I go along. Okay, so I'm not promising, but I'm going to see what's happening. So I'm just inking my edges up. Now my paper, quite incidentally, has got hearts on it. That's why I thought it's quite nice. And it doesn't really go with the colour theme of my brother and sister-in-law's wedding. But I thought, let's mix it up a bit and do something a bit bright, because this layout would actually work really well for any occasion. It would work really well with black and white photographs. It would work really well with children's photographs. You know, this layout I think will work with most occasions just by you changing your papers. But as I said, it's a great one to use end of kits. All right, so we've got that inked up. Before I stick this down, now I said to you, see if you could pick up little stamps. Okay, and this was a set I've had again in my craft stash for years, and it's little black hearts. Okay, so they're the stamps I'm going to go with and use. All right, so you're all with me, yes? So I'm just going to slide those up, because I'm just going to have some coming across from this corner. Let me move. I want to move my white, but I don't want to get it in my ink pads. I'm trying to balance as I've homed the phone in this time. I didn't want to. Is that better? So you can see my bottom corner, yeah. So I'm going to start with. I'm going to go in with a bit of yellow, I think. And the only reason I'm going in with yellow first is I don't have to worry about cleaning my stamp too much. Oh, Chris has had a delivery at the door, so she's going to catch up. Not a problem at all, Chris. Not a problem at all. But we haven't gone that far, really. We've just inked our panels and matted and layered our photographs. So it's quite easy to catch up. Yeah, it's Katie. She says she still hasn't used her pins. Right, I'll see what I can do. So I've inked up yellow, and I'm just going to go off the page. Let me slide that ink pad up, because I'm going to get this blue ink pad on my white card. I can just see it, but I'm trying to go that you can see where I am. Okay, so I'm just going to randomly put a few of those there. And before I change colour, so I've started with my lightest colour So there's a cheats way of doing things. And before I go in with the next colour, I'm going to pop one about here. Okay. And then I'm just going to give those a quick wipe. I've just got a cloth here. I could go straight in with another colour because I've gone with my pale. But I will just give that a wipe. I'm not going to use a baby wipe because I don't want to wet it, if you like. I know I'm going to get my elbow in these ink pads today. I can just see it. It's going to happen. Right, I'm going to go in with red next. So as I said on the sample on the supply list as well, also think about going it. You could use different. I'm using hearts because obviously I've got a wedding photograph. I've got hearts on my paper, so I've got everything so coordinating along. But this would work quite easily with any shape, so any small stamp you've got. I mean, the selection I've got here, I've got stars, I've got buttons. You know, it could work as a child's one with buttons. And rather than cutting out the hearts later on, I could cut out some button shapes or stick buttons on and have as cute as a button. So this is where it will work with quite a few sort of different ideas. So it'd be nice to see what you all come up with. And then lastly, this blue one. So in with the blue one. Now this is going to be, you're going to cover quite a lot of this up, and I've managed to get it all on my fingers already. Right, so I'm just going to bring a bit of blue in there, and then I'm just going to slide these down to see where it goes. I think I'm going to pop a bit of blue in up here. Right, so when I've just done a selection, not too many. And then I'm just going to lay my paper just to have a look what it's looking like. Okay, and always keep referring back. And I'm just going to pop my photo on there as well, actually. So that's quite nice. I might put a little bit of blue down here because I've not got much blue showing. So I might go in with a little bit of blue off the page. But just have a look, just keep sort of referring back, and I will wait for you. I won't move on to the next section until we're all ready. So I've just added a little bit of blue down there. Let's see what that's looking like now. So now I'm putting my strips all straight, and another thing you could do is you could offset them. So you know, it's quite nice that there are other ways round you doing this. And I'm wondering whether I come over all three. I might go more over that way and then have something. I might put a few here. So actually I'm going to go with a bit of blue here and a bit of red. See, this is where it's just playing with it and seeing what works for you. Okay, you're going to be waiting for me now because I'm having a little play with it. So let me go back again before I put my next one in. So for those of you that had to dash off or anything, you've got time to catch up. There's plenty of time. Plenty of time. Yeah, I think I'm going to put a bit of red just up there. Right, so that's coming together quite nicely. Let me wipe that bit of red off there. I'm just going to overstamp that colour. Right. I think I might have to put my lids on my inks because I can just see this going horribly wrong. I'm going to get my fingers everywhere. So, we lay these on now. Let's have a little look how we're doing. Because we've got word to put in yet. We've got some die cuts to pop in yet as well. Okay, so there's lots going on. All right, and I'm thinking I might put some. No, I don't think I will. I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave some white space. We're going to have some white space. Right, so the next thing we're going to do is to stick our 3 columns of pattern paper down. Okay, again, there's no You can measure it out if you want to. I mean, you're looking at 9 inches divided by, take away 12 is 3, and you've got to have 1, 2, 3, 4 gaps. But I'm not going to be too precious about measuring. I'm eyeballing like I do. So I've probably got about ½ an inch. Let me see if I can find a ruler under all my bits and bobs. See, I told you these open ink pads, this is going to go wrong. Let me just have a quick measure up for you. Yeah, I've got about ½ an inch in between the two. So actually what I could do on my glass mat is, because I've got measurements along the bottom here, if I slide up. And you see I've got measurements along the bottom. So if I lay my paper in at 12, that's 6. So I go roughly in the middle, and then I've got my measurements up the side. So let's get this one stuck down. So are we all in the process of sticking? Are we all okay? Jean's just said she's had... Oh, you just had your parcel from me. That's come early, Jean. So this is for your kit, Jean, at the end of the month. I posted them off on Monday. And I posted them off because I wanted to allow extra time, because I know that Jo didn't get hers as promptly, though Jo messaged me yesterday and hers arrived. So you've had yours today then. That means Emma's also had hers today. So they're coming quite early. I'm pleased. But you're not going to have your class videos and password or your page sketches, Jean, until next week. So don't get tempted and start doing something with it. Oh, Karen got hers today as well. Well, that's been posty. Has been good then. I just wanted to post them earlier rather than... If I did it next week and then they didn't arrive on time and some people were going to start the class and some weren't, I would rather you all had them. So you can all look at them and stroke them, but you can't tell anybody. And leave it in the envelope. At least it's arrived safely. Oh, Julie's had hers as well. Wow. The postman must be getting back on track. I must say, our postman has started coming earlier in the mornings, and our postman doesn't normally come until 2:30 in the afternoon. So, yeah, ours is coming really early. So, all good. Now, I think that's roughly... I'm eyeballing, so I'm just going to hold it up a minute. This is where I know Julie and Jean will be standing up over theirs. I don't think that's too bad, is it? Jean said, that's fine, Dawn. No, not yet had a peek. Oh, Heather says she's just sent Angie to the door. Hers has arrived too. Oh, Chris has said she's just had a patchwork... A what? An iron mat for patchwork off Amazon. And she's got a post machine. Oh. So there we go. So you're all getting parcels through the post. I had parcels through the post yesterday. But my parcels through the post were to put kits together for you for the next few months. So I was trying to get ahead of myself. It's all right. I'm doing your trick, Jean and Julie. I'm just standing over it just to make sure. But I think eyeball-wise, I've done a pretty good job there. I'm quite pleased with that. So as I said, I've gone bright colours, which is not what I would normally do. But I am on this, for instance. So the next thing I want to do is to die cut my sentiment. So as I said, this time I'm just going to use a print or a die word sentiment. So I'm keeping it quite easy today. So I'm just going with a die word sentiment. I don't know if I'm going to put it there. I'm not sure yet where it's going to go. And I'm thinking colours. So do you know what I'm going to do? You know, I had that bit of scrap left. Yeah. What I'm going to do to because I haven't, I could use my papers. But I'll tell you what, let me die cut it out in white first. I'm faffing now because I've got too much choice. So let me pop my coffee here. Right, so I'm going to die cut this. So you're going to hear my die cutting machine going off. So I do apologise. So I'm going to die cut it in white. And then I might die cut it in, I think perhaps the blue. You know I like blue. That's why it's got to be blue. So who's doing die cut words and who's doing stamps or stickers? Oh, Helen, you do make me laugh. Helen's just said all she got was bills. Does anybody want her post? Oh, I love it, Helen. You always make me laugh. Oh, lovely. Right. So I'm just going to poke that out. Now, this is quite a fine word, but I thought I'd do something a bit different. I think actually that at a jaunty angle about there. So I'm going to poke those last couple of bits out. And I think I will drop shadow. So I think I'm going to bring a bit of that blue in. So I'm going to die cut that out again in the blue. Because I've got just a scrap here perfectly. Just perfectly. So I'm going to die cut that. I'm using my electronic machine this morning. So have we got any takers for Helen's bills? Have we got any takers? I can't see the comments now. What? Where have my comments gone? Oh, have I turned my comments off? Comments on. No, my comments have gone. Oh, down the back. I've got my comments back. Oh, I was panicking then. So are we all keeping up? Yes? I'm not racing too far ahead, am I? I don't think I'm going too fast. I'm quite enjoying having a bit of a relaxing morning today. So, sorry, Helen. Heather says no chance. She doesn't want your bills. Sorry, I can't get rid of them for you. They're free. Yeah, they're not really free, are they, Helen? Oh, yes, that against the blue. Perfect. Oh, it's starting to come together. Right, so I've got my title. Who else is die cutting title? Jean says no. Jean, you don't want her bills either. No, I don't think anybody wants your bills, Helen. You're going to have to keep them to yourself. Oh, now, here we go. So Karen's just said, where is she going to put a pocket? Well, Karen, there lies a tale. I could have left you a little bit of a challenge there. But you know what I would do if I was you? I would have cut another square of white, or whatever colour you're using as your base. Let me just put my coffee there a minute. So I've stuck all those down. I think they're quite central. So that's roughly 10 inches. So that's going to be 10 by 9. So if you cut a piece of white that was, say, 10 1/4, if you measure yours out by 9 1/4, stuck your panels on your extra piece of white, and then you could make one big pocket, Karen, because I know you like your pockets. So perhaps that would work. She says that's what she's done. See, I knew you'd find a way around it. So Karen's happy she's got a pocket. Let me have a quick sip of coffee. Right, so I've got my double word there ready to go. Now I said to you get some nesting dies, okay, that will go with, say, your layout. So I've just picked some hearts there. So I'm going to randomly now cut some of those out. So because my paper's quite thin, right, I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to see if it'll work. I think it will. So my I'm just going to cut a strip off here. This paper owes me nothing. This paper must be about 15 years old. What do we reckon, ladies, that have got it? It is old, isn't it? It's not me. So I've just got 3 strips, and I'm going to die cut 3 together and see what happens. I think my machine can take it. So this, as I say, this paper doesn't owe me anything. So I'm being probably not as frugal as I should, but I just thought it's a little bit different to do bright colours for wedding. But I wanted to try and think that you weren't all doing wedding. You were all probably doing other things. Like you could be doing children's pictures. You could be doing your pets. You know, so it doesn't necessarily have to be hearts. It could be stars. It could be hexagons. It could be triangles. It could be anything you've got to hand. That is the main thing. Okay. So I'm just going to die cut that through. Because we're not going to need many of them. All right. So I take it you've all gone quiet. You're all busy die cutting or cutting out. I'm hoping so. So I'm just going to pull these off here. Right. So let's see what we've got. I know what you mean, Katie. I'm just reading Katie's comment. She said it reminds her of an early Do Crafts or Paper Mania. I know what you mean. I can't remember what the paper collection even was because I've lost the dust cover. But it's something I've had for years. So I'm giving it an outing. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to randomly, I'm carrying on with these little hearts here, and I'm going to randomly pop some over here. Now, I might not use all these big ones actually, and this is where, Katie, I might use some of those, in fact I think the little ones need to go up the corner. Sorry, I'm going off piece here a bit. I think they need to go up there. And that can come down here. Yes, I think we go large to small. Because, yes, I think I might use... Have I got a colour missing? I've got a blue one there, haven't I? I'm going blue on blue, but actually... Let's take it part way off. So just play about with them. Let them move about a bit. Right, that can't go there. That's got to go there. I can't have those two together. Okay, so they can go there. I think that's looking quite nice. Now, what I was thinking is, right, sorry, I was fiddling about there. So, Heather says, no, it is Paper Mania. Hi, Alan. Alan said, I've missed you in my life, Dawn. I will be catching up with them all. Please do, Alan. I've been doing these free scrap-alongs all through lockdown, haven't I, ladies and gentlemen? So I've been here, Alan. Where have you been hiding? That's what I want to know. We've had this all going on every Wednesday. We have fun. So I picked out my hat pins. So Katie talked earlier the other week about she'd got hat pins. I'd put them on a layout, hadn't I? A double page layout we did, and she hadn't used them. Well, I thought, again, heart hat pins. You can tell how old they are. It says £1.50. You couldn't buy a wheel of hat pins now for £1.50. So I dug out, again, the 3 colours that I'm using, but I didn't have a red. So what I did, and this is what you can do at home as well, so do remember, is use your alcohol pens to colour your plastic, because it will colour your plastic beautifully. And I just want to show you why you might be having a little dig around your craft room, but you might be playing with your dies. So, but if you get your alcohol pens and you just colour in, it will take on the colour. Just give it a little moment to dry, but it will take on the colour, because alcohol pens are a bit like a Sharpie. They're not going to wear away. And you can use them on plastic. You can use them on acetate. Okay, so that's what I've used to create my red one, because I didn't have a red one. So I thought by keeping the theme with the 3 colours, I would, create a red one. So don't forget about your alcohol pens if you've got them at home. They're not just for colouring. You can use them for all sorts of things. So let me pop that back in there somewhere for now, just for that drying. Okay, so I'll pop that over there. So I've got 3 of those, and I thought what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread them onto here. So I'm going to go in and out, because this paper's quite thin, and I'm going to go in again. Now, by going in again, I haven't got to worry about anybody going to stab their fingers on it. Okay, so I'm just going to thread it in and out. All right, so I'm going to sort of tie them all together. Okay, perhaps we ought to bring a revival back. Last week it was card candy. Perhaps this week it ought to be hat pins. And I'm just popping them again. I've got that rule of 3s, 3 odd numbers. Okay, so I'm just bringing them all together. Okay, so actually that doesn't look too bad there, does it? And what I had done is I had got a piece of ribbon, and I'm wondering now if I should have had a bigger bit of ribbon. I was just tying a bow on there. I might go with a little bit of bigger ribbon, though what I've got might be too big. Let me try while I'm fiddling. Is there any more comments? Are you all doing all right? That large album is full, Alan. It's in Devon, so it's absolutely full. So I'm trying to sort out other things now. Have you been making any more albums, Alan? Alan made me a lovely big album when I lost my mum, because Alan lives where my mum and dad used to live, in Devon. So Alan made a lovely big album for me, and we filled it with lots of pictures of mum. So it's down in Devon. So yeah. So are you still crafting? Are you furloughed, Alan, or are you back into work now? I think this ribbon might be a little bit too big for this layout, I think, personally. I think that might be a little step too far. Let's try it. Oh, actually, if I bring that down a bit, I'm talking to myself now. Are you all catching up with me while you've all gone quiet? Oh, that might be better. Yes, I'm happy with that. There we go. So how are we all doing? I think we're all there, getting there, aren't we? I'm going to go small, bigger ribbon, but smaller bow. I think. If I can get it to stay put. Let me chop the ends off. Heather says she's fiddling with her dies. Oh, so you're still die cutting. That's fine. I haven't stuck anything down yet, so don't panic. Do not panic. I'm going to take that little one away. I think that one might have to go a bit smaller on that end. I think that one might go better. Now, I don't think I'm going to die cut any more hearts out. I don't think it needs it. Now, originally I was going to carry on that colour across, but I prefer the die cut hearts out. And just to make them pop a little bit, because I'm looking at the blue, what I can do is just ink those edges, because that will make them pop. Because we're not going to stick these flat. I think we're going to pop a line of glue just in the middle. Can you see that's just making that pop now, just with that little bit of ink? So if you've got your 3 ink pads with your 3 colours, okay, this would work really well actually for a boy's or a man's layout if you changed the colourway as well, wouldn't it? Because it's quite a simple layout. So I think this would work very nicely. So we're popping all this on here. That is just making that stand out, actually having that inked around the edge. So I'm going to wait for you all to catch up. Oh, so Alan says he has been furloughed because he does eye surgery. You work in the eye surgery part of the opticians. Oh, right, so you've had plenty of time then to be doing some crafting, Alan. What have you been up to? There we go. It does make a difference with having them inked. So I'm going to do the yellow ones as well. Then I'm getting ready for sticking down. How are you all else doing? Are you all getting ready for the sticking down, or are you still die cutting? So Katie, I bought in those hat pins for you. Don't worry if you haven't got hat pins. You don't have to have anything there. You could keep it really plain. So don't panic about that at all. I've just got to remember where my hearts went, so they're in the right place. So are we all getting to it? I'm getting hearts and thumbs up across the screen, so we must be all getting ready for sticking down. I'm just thinking title. Yeah, that's got to go there. I could put, actually, I might put that there, then it draws the eye all the way across. I think my word is going to come this side, because then your eye is drawn all the way across. And I've now got to decide which way round it will go. I think it's going to go that way round. So I think I'm ready for sticking down. How's everyone else doing? Yeah, we should try and catch up for a coffee, Alan. It's been a bit hard lately because my dad's not been very good at all. So I normally, after this class, I normally have a quick FaceTime with Dad, because my sister goes and looks after him in the care home. She helps out in the care home. So I normally, after this class, I have a quick FaceTime with him. But no, Dad's not doing brilliantly at the moment. So yeah, it's not been great. So let's start sticking down on a lighter note, because we're here to have fun. So I'm going to use my 3D glue gel actually on my photograph. So if you want to add a journal tag behind, you can. No problem at all. I'm not going to pop one on today, but I'm going to leave that for you to do. That's why I'm just using my 3D glue. Okay, so that's going on there. And I'm going to pop that down there. And then I can start loading this up. If you haven't got 3D glue gel, you can use your foam pads as well. So don't forget about those. All right, let me just have a quick sip. And then I'm going to go in with my tacky glue. Okay. And I'm going to start sticking these hearts down. So I think that might have to go on a little bit of silicone, I think, that one. So that's going to have to go on a bit of silicone, because I've got my needles at the back here, and I'm just going to pull that red one out, because when I put my silicone on, that will help seal all those up. And I'm just going to bob a bit of ink around the edge of that. Okay. So it's all getting exciting here in my little craft room, because I'm starting to get in retreat mode. Normally by now I've bought all the supplies and started the classes, but I have been hanging fire. So retreat ladies, I will be doing a meeting room to tell you all what's going on and how far we are, etc. And a little bit of a sneaky peek of what Karen and I have got in mind for this year's retreat. So I'm going to pop that in there and give that a 3D across there. And then I'm just going to put a little bit on my ribbon to attach my ribbon across that part, so that hides that nicely. That's looking good. I'm pleased with how this is coming along. So oh, that's okay, Katie. My dad's, well, he's 89 next month, so he's had a good innings, and he'll always say he's had a good life. But yeah, it is a shame. He's doing well. He's still got his sense of humour, bless him. Right, what I'm doing is I'm just popping a little bit of, I'm using my tacky glue, and I'm just going a line down the middle because I'm going to have these sort of 3D, as in sticking up. I'm not going to make you stitch them, don't worry. So I'm just going to do a little line. So there's a bit of movement, but not too much, if you like. Okay. So just a line of glue. I think it just looks better than them sticking flat. I mean, they will, when you actually add them to your album, they probably will look a bit flat. Katie's asking, did my dad like the ice cream layout? He did, Katie. Actually, when I spoke to him after being with you ladies and gentlemen last week for the free scrap along, I did show him his layout and he did chuckle. He said, oh, happy days, I like an ice cream. And my sister said, I bet you'd like to go down to the seaside now and have an ice cream, because they live near the seaside. So yes, so no, he did see the sense of humour side in that. It was lovely. So again, I'm just popping just that line of glue just in the middle of my hearts. Okay. So down we go. So are we all coping? I think you must all be concentrating really hard because you're all being quiet today. But that's fine. I don't mind as long as you're enjoying it. Now, this morning as well, I've also put, for those of you that are keeping up with the page sketches, so page sketch 12 has now gone live, and I've done a little bit of a bonus for you this week. I've done a little bit of a 4 for 3 in that I'm offering you, you can buy page sketch 12, 13, 14 and 15 for the price of 3 of them. So you're buying 3 and getting one free. So yeah, so check out the link that I've put here on my Facebook group, or go over to my Dawn's Inspirations website. It's on there. Okay, if you want to continue with the page sketches that we started. So I'm just going to double or drop shadow my title. Okay, so that's just going to go. It's a bit fiddly on this one because it's quite a fine title. Oh, so it's quite a fine title, but I'm just going to drop shadow that. And by even with just that suggestion, even on this fine title, can you see how it makes it look more 3D? Okay, so it just works out quite nicely. And I think I'm going to go that way. I don't know whether to go that way around or that way around. I think I'm going to go that way around. I think it's going to have to be that way around. So that can then go on. So a bit more glue on my hand. So I'm coming towards the end. How are we all doing? So Dawn says she couldn't find the PDF for the ice cream one, that you did of my dad. That's because, Dawn, as of June, these scrap-alongs that I do on a Wednesday morning now will not have a PDF because these are free. Okay, I said I'd do them, my page sketches, through lockdown. And yes, none of us expected lockdown to go on quite as long as it did. So if you remember from the beginning of June, I will carry on with the page sketches, but you have to purchase those for a small fee and you get a PDF with those. But these scrap-along lives, like this one, there's no PDF to go with it, okay? I'm trying to keep it as simple as I can so I can still scrap along live with you for free, okay? But it's not taking up too much of my workload because I am starting to do work now as well. So that's why there's no PDF. So these, from now on, well, from June, the free scrap-alongs that I've been doing on a Wednesday morning, there's no PDFs for them. However, if you want to do the page sketches with the PDFs, they are available to purchase for a small fee over on my website. Okay, no worries, Dawn. I know it's all a bit confusing. There's so much scrapbooking going on. I've spoken to a few ladies and they've said they've never done so much scrapbooking during lockdown, which is true. Even myself, I think I have done a lot of scrapbooking. So what with doing these lives and doing some extra classes, it's all scrapbooking, but fantastic. I'm really enjoying it. In fact, I've neglected my cards because after this I've got to make my Father's Day cards yet and get them in the post. So I did get my fine liner out because I was thinking of doing a doodle line around the edge. But actually, I think I'm going to keep it plain for this layout. So depending on what your layout's like, you could perhaps put a very fine doodle line around the edge. Okay, I was going to, that's why I got my fine liner pen out. So if anybody wanted to do that, they could. I've lost my comments again. Okay, so if anybody wanted to, they could. You could also do a little hash dot line up here, but actually I'm quite liking it as it is, just quite plain. So I'm going to keep that as is because I think it looks quite nice, a nice clean layout for this morning. So that's my layout done. How are we all doing? Is everyone else done theirs? I tell you what, I think this is one of the first times we've done it in an hour. That is good. How are we all doing? I'm going to have a quick sip of coffee while you let me know how you're doing. If there's any questions at all that need answering, just let me know. I will be here next Wednesday as well for Scrap Along with Dawn. Okay, so Scrap Along with Dawn is on a Wednesday morning at 10:30 and that's all free of charge. But if you want to do my page sketches, so it's the Scrap Along page sketch, there's a small fee to pay for those over on my website if you want to carry along with those. So we've got some hearts coming up the screen. So I think we're about getting there. I'm quite liking the simplicity of this. Not too much measuring and not too complicated this week. I think last week with all the measuring, I think I lost a couple of you. You caught up after, which was great. But I wanted to keep you all going this week. So, and nice also if people are running out of supplies, because I know I've got some new scrapbookers that have just started scrapbooking. And obviously during lockdown, it's been hard to get hold of some supplies. So this one doesn't use too many supplies and it looks quite, I think it looks quite nice and fresh. So again, out of my comfort zone for colours, these wouldn't be colours that I would normally put together for a wedding picture, but I think it looks quite nice. I'm quite pleased with that, yes. And I'm not going to do a doodle line. I'm going to keep it as is. And I'm liking my double matte of white. You can't really see it. I'm going to hold it up to the camera a bit closer. So you've got that double matte of white for anybody that missed the beginning. Okay. So I've double matted on white for a change. So I'm just looking at it now. Yes, I think that looks... Yes. Dawn's saying yes. Less is the best. I've not heard that one. I've heard less is more. But yes, I like that. And I do like that double matting of white. I think that just makes it... It makes it stand out, but not too in your face. I didn't want to add another colour. I wanted to keep the page to three colours. So I'm all done. So Chris says she can't find the pins for a minute, so she'll finish it when she can. That's absolutely fine, Chris. And don't forget, you can use your alcohol pens to colour them in. So Kate is saying you could use this. Yes, Katie. Katie is suggesting you could create this layout with, you know, those free papers you get in magazines. This would be great for one of those, wouldn't it? Ellen says, thank you, Dawn. Oh, you're absolutely welcome, Ellen. I'm glad you liked it. Glad you liked my layout. Thank you. So I'm looking forward to you sharing me yours. So do like we do every week. Take your pictures, pop them on my Dawn's Inspirations page. Then I can move them to the main page itself. Because what they do is they sit in what's the area is called community. If you go to the community section of my website, you'll see it. So they just sit there and I move them over to the main page. And then I can add them into the album for Scrap Along with Dawn Week 3. And I'm looking forward to seeing all the variation on a theme. So it's a variation on this layout. So Dawn's saying night night because she's in Oz. So night night, Dawn. Thank you for joining in again. Kate is saying love to everyone. And thank you, Dawn. You're absolutely welcome. Oh, Karen, that is. So take care, Karen. You look after yourself. Margaret sending her love. She likes the layout. Thank you, Margaret. This would be a great one, Margaret, for Rosie to do because she wouldn't need too many supplies for this one. So you ought to tell Rosie about this one because she might like this one. So I'm going to send you lots of lovely hearts across the screen. So take care of yourselves. Stay safe. And I will see you next week. So Helen's saying, thank you, Dawn. I might get my... What does she get? I might get my clogs out. What, to do a dance? Michelle says she loved today. Just the wording to do. Oh, fantastic, Michelle, because Michelle's a new scrapbooker. So she's joined in with the live. So it wasn't too fast for you, Michelle. That is fantastic. So that is good as a new scrapbooker to keep up the pace because I don't want to go too fast. I want you all to join in and love it. So that is fantastic, Michelle. So that's brilliant. So Maxine says, thank you. You're welcome. So love and hugs to you all. Stay safe. And I will see you next Wednesday, 10:30 for Scrap Along with Dawn, week 4. Bye for now.